it's very tricky because you start your sport and you do it because you have a lot of fun on the court and you want to compete with the other kids, and then you start to earn money. A lot of people who out of a sudden want something from you. So it's super important that you have a good base, that you can trust your family as well, that you have always somebody you can talk to, because at the end of the day you can do a lot of mistakes. I mean, some of them you need to do, but a lot of them you can also avoid. The Australian Open one was really tough because I had my chances, and it was so weird because I was so sad and destroyed that I lost. But on the other hand, I couldn't tell myself what I could have done better because I was playing so good. The one thing I always thought when I was waking up the next day is, was this my last chance? I wanted that Grand Slam title. That was deep in myself. That was my biggest goal I had. And I don't know how I would feel now after my career if I wouldn't have won that title. So I was always saying myself, hopefully I get another chance.
Dominic, we're so excited to have you here. Sorry it's such shit weather in London today, but thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure to be here. Thanks.
So we catch you at a time where you've retired from tennis less than a year ago. How's that been for you? How's the transition?
Yeah, it's soon becoming 1 year of a retired tennis player, and transition went really well. But I think I was lucky too that the end of the career was not from one day to another, but I could really plan it. I was deciding it in March last year, and the last match was in October. So that was really like a transition period because I was still feeling like an active player, but also preparing the time after, because I was just 31 when I retired. So I was talking to some other athletes who were also retiring or forced to retire pretty early, what to do or what advice they can give me to not get a downfall or something, and that really helped.
What advice did they give you? I'm intrigued.
To keep busy. That was the most advice I got, and it's the one advice I would also give to somebody who calls me up and ask for it, because honestly I was my last match was on a Tuesday, and Wednesday was already the first appointment after, so that was amazing, and I was keeping so busy for the weeks after.
How important was it that you were doing things towards the end of your playing career so that when you actually did finish, it didn't feel like you'd just fallen off a cliff?
For me, it was crucial, because I think it's pretty dangerous if you have like a downtime or doing nothing for 4, 5, 6 months, because the days can get long. And what I also learned, if you don't have a goal like deep inside yourself, it can be really, really tough. So straight away, like in this period of time, I was setting goals for myself outside the court, which I honestly didn't know before. Well, everything was around tennis, and every goal was in the sport and in the tennis. So I started to set goals like in the outside world, in different departments, and that really helped.
When you're playing and you're earning a lot of money, do you do financial planning for a career after tennis? Are you educated by agents, by management groups on how to make sure that you're financially set up well post a career?
For me personally, when I came up on the rankings and when I started to earn money, I was not interested how the money works or what I do with it. I just wanted that at the end of my career, I'm safe financially. That's what I wanted, and I was really lucky that I'm still having him like a great financial advisor. He was taking care of everything since I was 18 or 19, and it's a really great relationship, and I could trust him from the first day on. And it was also super helpful when I got interested in all the finances and all the money, because I can call him whenever. He will explain me everything. But I was really lucky to have him from a very young age on.
Do you remember that time when you did first get interested? What was it that intrigued you?
That was when I got my injury, because that was the first time when I had a feeling that at one point the tennis career is gonna end, because the success went down and I was out for like almost 1 year. And before that, I was so intense in the world of tennis. I never had any injuries, luckily. So when that injury, the wrist injury happened, for the first time, I knew, okay, at one point it's gonna be done, the tennis career, and then life is completely different. And then I knew I had to take care a lot more about life outside tennis, and of course money and finances is a big part of it.
Do you remember your first big financial win?
It depends, when I was really young and I got the wild card into my first ATP tournament. You get back then $4,000 for a first round loss, and with I was 18 back then. It was unbelievable amount of money, and I didn't know that you have to pay tax for it, that the hotel is deducted, that the coach, the agent gets something from it. So I thought that it's 4,000 straight in my pocket. It's amazing. At one point, if I'm on the tour, I get this at least every week, so I'm fine. So I didn't know anything about it. So 4,000 in the beginning was a lot, but now the first really big paycheck was Australian Open when I was 20. I qualified and I won my first round match, and I got, I think, 50,000 Australian dollars, and I was like, holy shit, that's unbelievable. How much money is that? But still, I didn't know what's happening after with all the tax and all the deductions.
How does it break up? When we look at now the reporting of the numbers, and even to qualify for Wimbledon now, it's up to about 65, 70,000, which is huge for players. But when you do take out all of the coach, the physio, travel costs, how does it break down for the players?
I think for sure if you get £65,000 in Wimbledon, you will leave the tournament probably with 60% less, I would say. So the tax from UK or from the country where you get the money gets deducted straight away. So and then of course you have to deduct it in your own country, and then you have to pay obviously coaches, travels, all your stuff. And then also it's interesting. For example, if I have a deal with one of my partners, I also have to pay tax for the amount of days I was spending in the UK or in the US, because obviously when I play Wimbledon or when I play US Open, I'm in the TV there, and everybody sees like the Adidas kit or whatever, so I have to pay tax for that in the country, and it's a pretty big amount. I was shocked sometimes.
So those total packages now, how much can you plan as a player coming through to make good money, but also ensure that you're protecting your development? You're continuing to focus in the right ways. You're not overspending on a coach. How difficult is it to ensure that those people around you are the right ones?
It's a lot of experience, I would say. In tennis, you start so early. You start like with 5 or 6 years old. I mean, there are obviously some exceptions, and you don't change coaches too often. I would say in average it's like 4 or 5 years, and it's very tricky because you start your sport and you do it because you have a lot of fun on the court and you want to compete with the other kids, and then at one point, if you get really successful, it's all you want. But then there are so many things coming on you, like you start to earn money. There are coming a lot of people who out of a sudden want something from you, who give you so many advices. So it's super important that you have like a good base, that you can trust your family as well, that you have always somebody you can talk to, because at the end of the day you can do a lot of mistakes. I mean, some of them you need to do, but a lot of them you can also avoid.
Can I ask you, how does like a contract work with, say, like an Adidas? Do they pay you every year to wear Adidas clothing and shoes? Is it tied into media commitments as well? Is there photo shoot? What does that contract look like in reality? I'm fascinated.
Yeah, I mean, it's of course clothes and shoes. It's exclusive, really strict, and you get a retainer, like a basic fee. But you need to play a certain amount of tournaments to get it, and
So when you're injured,
that's it gets deducted a lot. But also the thing is, the retainer is amazing if you're top 3 in the world, if you're top 5. A big thing is qualifying for the ATP finals, so top 8. It's really worth a lot. But then if you drop a little bit in the rankings, your retainer, your basic fee is going down crazy. And then there are bonuses. So if you win tournaments, 250, 500, 1000 Grand Slams, each category has its bonus, and you can earn really a lot. But if you don't have a good season, then you drop down a lot. I think there is this one story when Rafa once finished the year when he was injured a lot, I think number 9, and he lost so much from his retainer from Nike, so they were able to sign 2 or 3 younger players because so much budget got free. So it's very interesting, and yeah, it's like 2 or 3 photo shootings each year. But it's very well planned because the calendar is so tight.
And do you think about having multiple sponsors then, having a Rolex as well and having a aftershave brand?
In the beginning of my career, no, and I was having a racket sponsor and clothing sponsor. Obviously, that's the most important for a tennis player. But then, yeah, there are offers coming in, and it really needs to fit the personality, I would say. And also for me personally, I always like to have long-term relationships, which I'm still very happy now that I'm with Adidas since 2011 and with my racket brand Babolat since 2015. But yeah, when there were offers coming in, it always had to go along with the way I am and with my personality.
Was there ever one which you didn't want to do, but they paid you a lot of money?
Yeah, there were. Yeah, I'm not naming them now, but there are also offers for appearance fee for tournaments, of course, once you rise the rankings.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's getting tricky as well, because sometimes the offers are great, but it would be much better to take a week off because the body and the mind just needs it.
At what point was the Grand Slam success like integral to you being able to really drive that attraction? Because you've had 4 finals. You won the US Open in 2020, one of the few people outside of a Federer, Djokovic, Nadal, Murray in that era. Come on. Unbelievable. What is it? You, Del Potro, Cilic,
yeah,
Medvedev.
Yeah.
How much did winning change it? Or was it just being in and around the top of the game that had already put you in that category?
Yeah, like being constantly in the top 10, top 5, qualifying for the ATP finals, top 8 players at the end of the season, like this already helped me a lot. So the win of the US Open didn't change so much in my own opinion with sponsors or with partners, because already before, I think honestly it's a little bit of a difference for to play a final or to win, but at the end you are on the trophy ceremony, at the finals. You have the little bit smaller trophy, but still you're there with all the pictures, all the videos. So once you're in a final of a slam, I think it's just a huge reputation. So the win didn't change that much in that department.
Does it not? Commercially, the world doesn't open up if you're a Grand Slam winner. Just like the title Dominic Grand Slam winner, in my head, would be like such a game changer commercially.
To me, no, because it was in the middle of COVID as well. I think that was a bit of a changing aspect as well. For example, like if you win the US Open in a normal year, next day at 6 you get picked up and you get on the biggest morning shows, I think, in the country. And I was doing everything online, and you have so many great so many great opportunities in a normal year, but me, I was doing it online, and then I was going on the empty airport, on the empty airplane home, and there was a full lockdown at home. So I think that made a huge difference, that it was exactly in the toughest times of COVID.
Because in that match you were 2 sets down. When you are in that position, you're 2 sets down. Are you just like, where's your mind at to be able to then come back? Is it right now? There's no expectation. I just got to throw everything at it, so I'd relax a little bit.
Yeah, there were so many thoughts and so many emotions in my mind. It was horrible because it was my 4th final. It was the first time that both opponents were going, I would say, 50-50 in the finals, because before I was playing twice Rafa French Open and Novak in the Australian Open. So I was going in as a slightly underdog for sure. And in this year's Open final, you could really feel that both players knew that this was the chance to take it, and I couldn't handle it in the beginning, and I was freezing really. And Sasha was playing very well, but the emotions were horrible from time to time. I was just now, like before the US Open this year started, it was like in the TV US Open Classics, and I watched the finals, and it was just all the feelings and emotions coming up again. Not very nice.
But what do you tell yourself? Are you like, Dominic, get your shit together? You're in front of everyone. The world is watching. You're 2 sets down.
I was playing like shit, honestly, and I told myself, man, what's wrong with you? Really, you have this chance. All the time when I was in a Grand Slam final, I always thought maybe this is the last chance, because the road there is really bumpy and it's really tough to get to this final. And I was thinking, shit, you're not gonna do it again. What's wrong with you, really? And but there was still a little bit of hope in the back of my mind. And at the end, I was also a breakdown in the 3rd set, and then finally I released a bit because there was nothing to lose. I just wanted, my mind was saying, yeah, probably you're gonna lose, but just try to play well at least some games. And then I released a bit, and then in tennis, especially in a best of 5 match in a Grand Slam, you always get a little chance, and this one you have to take, and luckily I took it.
And you also know the closer he gets to winning, he's going to start feeling
it's
like the same.
Yeah, it's always like giving and taking. It's almost never happening that both players are playing super well at the same time. It happened in the French Open final between Yannick and Carlos this year. It was such a high level, but normally always one is on the top, and it's always changing. That's what makes it so interesting.
When you played those French Open finals against Rafa, like completely honestly, everyone goes in, no, I back myself to have it. How much of that was like a mental challenge just to get on the court and stand on the other side of a net from someone like that?
If you are an opponent against Rafa in the French Open final, they don't make it easy. Like the tournament doesn't make it easy. I think like every tennis fan knows it. You go on the center court, you do the warm up before the match, and then like the speaker, he's introducing you, and he says, yeah, like I don't know, 9 ATP titles and then this and that, and the crowd is like applauding. And then he starts to introduce Rafa, and he starts, winner of the French Open 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, and the crowd is going crazy. Then he starts 10, 11, 12, 13, and the crowd is going mad. And you already lost the match. It's like it's one of the worst. It's one of the worst things I've ever experienced.
I do believe in like positive visualization, like seeing the outcome that you want to see before it happens. When you go into that, like, are you like, fuck, I've lost?
Yeah, the first year, 2018, it was like that. I felt like the underdog, and I had a completely wrong mindset. First of all, I was happy to be in the final. Then I was physically not on 100% anymore. And then Rafa was standing next to me with his huge aura, with already 10 French Open titles, and I knew somehow, yeah, today is not the day. But then the year after was completely different. I was beating him some weeks before, and I really was convinced that I'm able to win the finals, to win the French Open. I didn't see myself as an underdog. I saw it as a 50-50 match, but it was just, and I played really well. I cannot say anything about it, but there it was so impressive how he was raising his level. It was just unbelievable, and just kudos to him.
How much conversation communication is there between players in tournaments?
There's always joking around in the locker room, and especially from people who are speaking the same languages. We go dinner sometimes, but it's not deep conversations, to be honest. It's very light conversations about light topics.
The reason I ask that is because more and more when we speak to footballers or American athletes, there is the conversation of business and, oh, what are you investing in? Oh, who are you partnering with? Was there ever a conversation about investing money, finance with the players on the tour?
Not really, because it's very light, all the conversations. It's a lot joking around, and I don't know it, but I think that in a team sport you can develop deeper relationships because you see yourself every day for a long time. In tennis, you see each other in the locker room for 2-3 minutes, and you practice with each other, but you cannot really talk. And then most of the nights, most of the dinners you spend with your own team, and then you have those conversations, but not really with your fellow colleagues. It's more, to me, what I experienced in between different sports. Like when I'm with some football players, I talk more about it. First, we talk sports because it's really interesting, but then also a little bit deeper topics.
Is it lonely on tour?
Yes, yeah, because there are nice people to spend time with, but I would say this is not a real deep friendship. And with your own team, it's traveling 40 to 45 weeks a year, and you feel lonely, but you still don't want to see them sometimes because you see them so much. So yeah, it can be lonely sometimes.
I'm always fascinated, like the Grand Slam kind of period. Let's say you make it to something like the semi-finals and you've got 2.5 weeks. Did you rent a house somewhere in and around them, your whole team together, you're living there? How did you actually set up for those big tournaments?
In Wimbledon, it's a house, yeah. Like almost everybody rents a house. And
do you take the same house every year?
No, because sometimes if you're lucky, you have a good house, but then it's already taken for the next year. So I didn't take the same house. I took the same hotel in most of the Grand Slam tournaments, but not the same house. But Wimbledon, I was never in the semifinals, so I don't know how it is there. But no, like the Grand Slam journey is a real roller coaster, I would say, because if you go deep, if you're lucky enough to go deep, semifinals or finals, you almost all the time have to survive some tricky situations. For example, probably the best tournament I've ever played in my life was tennis-wise was Australian Open 2020. When I reached the finals and I was really sick in the beginning of the tournament, like that was right before the COVID outbreak, so nobody knows if it was that because many players were really sick, and I just had to survive the first 2 or 3 matches, and then in the second week I was playing myself into the tournament. But for me, it was always at one point amazing journey, the Grand Slam journey, but on the other hand was also really tough because at the end I lost my appetite. The only thing I could eat was like white bread with olive oil that was going down. So it's very tense, but very nice as well.
We always hear players, they come to an end in an interview and they'll go, oh, like Wimbledon's my favorite, or this is the best Grand Slam. But how different are the 4 to actually play in? And what makes, I guess, the tournament a really good one to play in?
Yeah, the 4 slams are so different, but they are unbelievable. Like as a player, you get everything what you want. When you come on site, it's not like you come to a tournament site. It's like you come almost to to home or to a hotel. Like everything is taken care of. The locker room is like a living room. All the players are chilling on the couches, watching TV, watching the other matches. You have ice bath, you have all the physios, you have everything what you need for recovery, for pre-match. The food is great at a Grand Slam tournament, so all the four are great. If it comes to, and also the Masters 1000, it's the same. But if it comes to the lower categories like 250, 500, some of them are also really amazing, but some of them are pretty rough, I would say. Yeah, the locker rooms and everything are not that amazing.
I want to go back to on that with the Grand Slams, the kind of player finance breakdown, because a huge topic right now on the business side of tennis has been the Players Association, which Djokovic and Pospisil set up. For people who don't know, it's the kind of fight for better distribution of revenue finances amongst the players. And currently, I think in the Grand Slams, players get about 17% or so of total revenue. But in other sports, they get maybe 40 to 50% of total revenue. So while we read really big numbers, we're also looking at better ways to sustain tennis throughout the whole system. So it isn't just big money at the top, but we can create sustainable careers for everyone in and around it. Was that a prominent part when you were playing? Were these discussions starting to move in this direction to try and ensure that the players were better represented on the finance side in tournaments?
Yes, definitely. We always have the big players meeting. I think before Australian Open and before US Open, and there it was a constant topic because what's definitely right, that tennis is such a big and such a global sport with such a huge fan base all around the world, and compared to that, the number of players who can live from it, I think is just way too small. And also the popularity of the players is way too small, because like players ranked 150, ranked 200, they're just unbelievable good tennis players, and they can beat, I would say, almost anybody from the top 100. But like a Grand Slam tournament just has 128 spots in the main draw.
If you're 150th in the world, how much money do you make in a year, give or take?
So there was a really interesting interview on that, and a guy called Taro Daniel did it recently.
Yeah.
And he made $180,000, I think, in 6 months. But his conversation here was, after I've given X amount to the physio, the coach, I'm left with a very small amount. I'm 150th in the world.
Yeah.
And to actually create a sustained career in the sport at 150, that should be easy.
Yeah, exactly. And
if you look at the 150th footballer in the world,
Look at the Premier
that's
League
probably
player.
a Premier League player, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like 5-6 million.
But then Djokovic obviously has done that as being a key part of this. When you're sitting at the top of the game and you get access to the biggest prize pools, do you see it as a responsibility as the top players to ensure the system is better represented?
I was also just thinking more about it towards the end of my career, when I was thinking more about also my own finances and my own money, and how difficult it is and how complex it is. Because honestly, before I didn't care too much about it. I also didn't care too much about my own finances. So
do you wish you'd cared more earlier? Would you have done anything?
For sure.
Would you have done anything differently?
Yes, I would educate myself definitely more about finances, about money. Also, do a lot more stuff outside the court from an earlier age on. Yeah,
you wish you'd done more outside the court, but then you look at someone like an Emma Raducanu or any great young talent who suddenly becomes in the spotlight. Often they are then criticised, and performance can dip on the back of multiple partnerships doing too much outside. How do you think about that balance?
I think it depends a lot of what you want to do yourself, because if you win, I would say, like, let's say a Grand Slam, and you have 15 partners and you have like 150 days of photo shooting, it's just, I cannot speak for other people, but for me it wouldn't be nice. It would be just really exhausting. But if you find something from a young age on where you're really interested outside the court, doesn't matter if it's finances, if it's something completely different. For me, I think it could have really helped my performance outside the court, because you get some different stuff on your mind. You get relaxed maybe a little bit more. You get outside your loop. I think it can really have a positive influence also on your on-court performance.
Yeah.
But
just, on that finances bit, the ATP have actually tried to address it, haven't they, with this baseline initiative? You mentioned something that I don't think we really consider, because again, in other sports, especially team sports, your contract covers you when you're injured. But a baseline initiative is them now trying to address the consistent, like a minimum salary that a player can receive from participating on the tours. That injury side, then, if you are injured and you have that, at least you get a secured amount of money. But there must have been some players who are injured for a year, and if they are 150, 200th in the world, that could almost ruin their career, not necessarily physically, but from a financial side.
Yeah, definitely. But I think they introduced baseline 2 years ago or 3 years ago. But before that, you were getting nothing when you were injured. And anyway, in tennis, if you play well, you earn more. If you lose a lot, you earn less. And if you're injured, you basically earn nothing. But you still have to sustain your coach, your team, also your living at home. No, so that's tough. And I mean, everybody who has like a professional sports career at one point faces those injuries, and it can lead to a very tough situation.
I always wonder this. I don't know if you do. When I look at it and I see coaches, and I see the coach that was sitting in a Federer or Nadal or Djokovic's box, or you if you're at the top of your game, and I always think, what do you coach Federer? Because it's not probably going to be technical, because he's just so good. Maybe it is, but like, what is the role of your tennis coach when you're doing all of these sessions? What are they working with you on?
Once you're on top, like, most of the work is done, I would say, in early age. So once you're on the top, it's nothing technical or whatever. It's you need to look to your coach in the box, and you need to have a good feeling, and he needs to give you good energy, and he needs to give you trust. That's the most important. If even in US Open finals, for example, I was not trusting myself. As I said, I had really bad mindset, but I was looking outside to my coach, and I could feel and I could see that he still has a trust in me, that I could still turn around this match and win it. And I think if you're on the top, if you're playing for the biggest title, that's just the most important. During the games, in the practice, it's the same.
Let's say you're in an Australian Open final against Djokovic, or you're in an Australian Open final against Nadal. What strategically would a coach say to you to focus on if you're facing Rafa or if you're facing Djokovic?
First of all, we would have looked on the former matches where I played well. But then to me, or also to my team, was always like this against the best players, against Novak or against Rafa, that the one who is able to push through his own game is going to be the one who wins at the end. And there's not much about tactics or how you play in the game. It's just, for me, it was always, I needed to push through my own game, and that I can play my game more than Novak or Rafa could play their own game. But to avoid this, that they can start to play their own game, is so difficult, because once like Rafa is dominating you or Novak is dominating you, there's no way back. There's no chance. So it's always about pushing through your own game and your own power and your own weapons.
So it's not like, don't get into long baseline exchanges. It's not get up to the net as quickly as
No, not
How
at
much
all.
of a role does data play in performance management?
I mean, I'm wearing an Aura since 1.5 years, and for example, this is as well something I was wishing for. I wish I would have done it much earlier with all the jet lag, with all the traveling. It could have helped my body so much. But as I said, that's also one thing. Like I'm now super interested in longevity and diet, and I just got interested into that in the last 2-3 years. So too late, unfortunately.
Is there anything that you've done from a longevity or a diet perspective that's had the biggest change?
We're back on the investing part. I was investing in one startup. It's called Revive DNA, and they do like a DNA test. And I did this one, and they give you all those advices on your genetics, what nutrition and what supplements help your genetics. And I was. Half a year ago, some month ago, I started doing it, and there I felt a real change. Since then, I feel so much more energized, and again, a little bit too late, but this one was great. And then when I was early 20s, I started to change my diet, because before I ate whatever I wanted. I was for sure 4 or 5 kilos too much, and I wanted to get them down, because it just was so helpful for my game when I was a little bit 4 or 5 kilos less. So that's when I started to take care a little bit more, like not so much sugar, not eating whatever I want every day. But those were the two situations.
What was your pre-match meal?
I knew that was going.
As I said, when I was deep in a Grand Slam, I couldn't bring anything down, so it was mostly white bread and olive oil, or just a pasta with olive oil. So it's not ideally.
He's not Italian, either.
Wow.
Yeah, that was it. I was maybe sometimes trying to eat some fruits as well, some nuts. But that was it, and I always espresso before the match.
When Djokovic went on that, it was like 42 match unbeaten run. He won at least 2, maybe more Grand Slams in that year. I can't remember, was it like 2011 or 2012? They made so much of it being his change in diet. When you are looking for those fine margins, you mentioned you'd heard Nico's show with us, and he talked about changing the paint on his helmet so that he could 80 grams or whatever made him go half a second faster. Are you looking for those marginal things that will take you into that next level?
Yes, it doesn't matter in which department I was doing it. It can be on the racket, on the string, but also of course on the diet. And trust me, I tried everything diet wise, like gluten-free, vegan diet.
That must have been a problem for you, gluten-free, with your
exactly,
bread, olive oil, and pasta diet.
Yeah, but I was just getting sick after 1.5 months, so it was nothing for me. So I needed some time to find out, but I think many players are trying out everything just for those little margins, which are so important, especially when it goes towards the end of the big tournaments.
I went off on a tangent with the coach question, but I meant to ask something as we were coming out of the players and creating the sustainability, because from the financial perspective, one thing that we've seen in sports where the athletes are freelancers, particularly in modern sport, those sports have been open for disruption. They've been open for new people coming in and going, hey, Live Golf, we can offer you the chance to not just make more money, but also choose where you play a little bit less. But the core of those products in Live Golf, for example, of the PGA, is if you play in a PGA tournament and you don't make the cut, you don't get paid at all. For Live Golf, you get paid just for turning up. And suddenly for some of those players, that is a much, much better bet for them to be able to go and operate at top level sport. I look at tennis and I just see a mass opportunity for someone to come in and seriously disrupt the sport. Do you have concerns around the structure of tennis?
Yes, for sure. I'm thinking about it, but I'm also like thinking about if it would be that bad actually, if there's somebody new coming in and creating something different. It doesn't mean that the tour how it is now, it's gonna be gone, but maybe there's coming something new, but which is parallel, or which can exist in the same time. But I agree with you that in tennis especially, it's quite dangerous and it's quite open that something new is coming. But I don't know exactly how the developments are right now.
Because all the Grand Slams kind of operate separately, correct? And then you have the ATP and the WTA and the ITF. Do you as players feel that kind of division at a senior level with so many stakeholders?
Yes, you feel it a little bit because the Grand Slams, they have so much power. I mean, those are the tournaments tennis is known for, and probably, I don't know, most of the fans globally, they know Wimbledon, they know US Open, they know French Open, they know Australian Open. They don't know Cincinnati Masters, or they don't know the 500 in, let's say, where's a 500 in Acapulco or something. They are amazing tournaments, but the average tennis fan wants to go to Wimbledon. And it's really, I don't know if it's like that in other sports, but like that the 4 Grand Slam tournaments are organized by the ITF and all the other tour by the ATP. So it's they are working together somehow, but still I think it's a bit complicated.
Which is the best run tournament? Which one were you like, wow, seamless, slick, amazing?
The 4 slams are around amazing, which is they also need to how much turnover they make.
Which one's the best in terms of how it's run?
I would even say Australia.
Which one's the worst?
I wouldn't say that there's a worse
French. That's interesting. I wouldn't have necessarily thought that, but now you say it, I do see that. Yeah.
You won Indian Wells, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because they always say, "Oh, that's like the 5th Grand Slam."
How much do you win for winning Indian Wells?
1.1.
Woohoo, baby! That's great.
How much do you win for winning the US?
Like this year, it's 5 million or something. It's amazing. Yeah.
Do you think that when you're winning, you're like, oh, this can buy a beach house?
But I would. It would be really interesting if there was ever an athlete, or especially in tennis, who thinks that right before the match point, like, if I make this match point now, I get in. If I lose, I get 2 million. If I win, I got 4 million. Would be so interesting.
Do you have that moment when you win, when you're like, oh, I need to get my watch, I need to put on my jacket? Jokes aside, like genuinely, like partnership optimization.
Yes, yeah, it's automatic at one point, but for sure, I also forgot it already sometimes, because you really need it. Put on the watch after every match for the interview.
Who did you have as a watch partner?
Rolex. Yeah.
Do they give you free Rolexes?
You have a budget every year.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can't just walk in and pick diamond encrusted.
Unfortunately.
No, but that's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Maybe Roger can. I don't know.
He can do anything.
Yeah.
Which was the biggest partner to you outside of Adidas?
I would say Red Bull. I love this partnership because, first of all, it's an Austrian company, and they had long time really troubles to get into tennis. First of all, I think they didn't want to, but then they wanted to. But then there's obviously like sponsor pool on the ATP and on the Grand Slam Grand Slam tournaments. I still cannot drink the can. I think it's forbidden. There's a funny scene at the US Open 2020, I think, if you look on YouTube. So you were on the ATP tour, you also were not allowed to drink the can on the changeovers. And when they changed it, it was possible that Red Bull goes into tennis. And I was their first player, and the company is simply amazing. Like,
and so what do you have to do for that? Like, drink Red Bull in public?
Yeah, that's what Red Bull likes the most. If you drink it in public, I mean, for me, towards the end of a Grand Slam tournament or a tough tournament was the only thing that gets me awake, because I drink so much coffee that doesn't get me awake anymore. But it's so much more about the company, because when I was injured or when I had physical troubles, they have this amazing athletes performance center in Austria, and they have like the best contacts ever in the sport world, and they can organize you pretty much everything. So I'm still with them, which makes me so happy, and it's just a great partnership.
We were talking outside, and it's a really interesting point in broader sport about the longevity of those partnerships with a lot of the tennis players after they've stopped playing. For so many players in football particularly, everyone has to fight so hard when they're playing, because once you retire, you're kind of on the heap. People care much less. But you're signing deals. You were just talking about Adidas. You still have that relationship with Red Bull, where even though you've retired and you're not playing these slams and these top tournaments, you're a major brand ambassador for them. Why do you think that is with tennis?
That's I would say it's a single sport. First of all, I think it's a bit easier, but then you really need a strategy, or you also need a good life after tennis, I would say, because during the career it was kind of easy, because your sponsors know that you're gonna be in TV every single week. Ideally, I played well, and then I was even on the trophy ceremony with the watch, with the Adidas kit, with the bubble art rackets, all the other sponsors as well. But then once the career is done, obviously all this falls away. Like there's no more media coverage every single week. So I think you need to have a story with your partners, because and also I think you need to have a story after your career. For me, it's a lot about that sustainability, that I'm with the topic sustainability since quite a lot of years, and building that story I think helped to sustain the relationship with my partners, and that's why most of them I was able to keep, which is of course super nice that I'm not playing anymore, but I still have a great relationship and partnership with all of them.
So that demand from Adidas, while you're playing, the requirements are you wear the kit on screen, you have the physical kind of more tangible approach. When you retire, it then becomes more developing different kind of business lines for them, working with them on a sustainability play. So they shift the responsibilities on you, but they keep the relationship strong. Yeah,
exactly. I was, for example, I was testing the new shoes, the new models of the tennis shoes, because I'm still playing, and I'm giving them the first insights of the shoes, and then I'm going end of September. I'm going to the headquarters there together with Angie Kerber. She's also retired now. She's like a 3-time Grand Slam champion, and we do a kids clinic, because they have like a huge kids clinic, I think, where kids have their first try in our case in tennis, and we spend 2 nice days with them. So it's more about those different stories.
We mentioned there like longevity and extending that beyond. One way to do that is to own your own channel, actually, and to own like a social presence. When you were playing, were you thinking about, how do I build up my personal brand on Instagram, and doing a, hey, behind the scenes, and like, hey, we're going to the US Open, and hey, this is my pre-match meal? And
I started to do it more professional 4 years ago. Then since then I do it. Before I just wanted to have 1 million followers. That was the big goal on Instagram. Yeah, exactly. But I was doing it for a long time all by myself, like with one friend, but just for fun basically. And but since 4 years more professional, and that's an advice I could give to every athlete, to start as soon as possible, because
you would say so. You wouldn't say, hey, it's distracting, don't do it. You'd say, hey, it's good, you make more money, it's good for partnerships.
Yeah, if you use it useful, of course, then you have to use it.
But Sabalenka's doing it as world number one.
Oh my God, yeah, her dance videos.
Dance videos, but also now she's doing like a vlog. So on her channel, she is filming all the behind the scenes, the travel in the house, everything that goes in and around the tournament.
So interesting.
Yeah. And she's world number one.
Yeah.
So, it's the piece of, you can do it while you're at the top.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But as you said, take control of she's doing that as her own content.
But when you then speak to partners today, is your social media part of their package? They're like, hey, we want to be on your Instagram. We want to be included in posts.
Yeah. Because for I think for Austria, I have a really huge number of followers, luckily. So
You got more followers than people in Austria. Yeah.
No, unfortunately not. That was a goal, but I couldn't reach it.
Bugger. Should have won that French Open.
Yeah, that would have helped for sure.
When
yeah.
you win an Open or like a Grand Slam, like the US Open, do you just wake up and be like, fuck, that's 100,000 more followers?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I didn't wake up because I didn't go to sleep. I just couldn't. But yeah, definitely, that's a huge boost. For me, it was so difficult to get followers compared to other sport. Like if you compare to football players, they all have so many followers. In tennis, it's a bit different, but the Grand Slam finals, they just helped so much, especially if it was against Rafa or against Novak. They have themselves 20, 25 million followers, so you get some from them. So yeah, each Slam final is for sure 100,000 followers.
Yeah. Wow. I'm always interested. You know, we saw, I can't remember her name, but the female tennis player who didn't like being interviewed after matches.
Naomi Osaka.
Naomi Osaka. That's it. Do you think players should be interviewed after matches and that's part and parcel of the game and you have to give the fans what they want? Or do you think that actually, if you've just lost, being asked how do you feel is quite a stupid fucking question and actually you should have a bit of privacy and a bit of time?
Honestly, the interviews, for example, what Naomi Osaka didn't want to do, they're not for the fans. They're just for the media. If you're the on-court interview, anyway, only the winner gets. So if you win, you're happy to give that interview as well. But I think it's too much because after every single match, you have to basically answer the same questions, and it's 40. If you play 35 tournaments a year, it's 35 times the same question. So it's too much. I think they should reduce it a bit. I mean, if you won or lost, if it's a big surprise, of course you have to do it. But I don't know, if you're number one in the world and you won your second round match 6-2, 6-1, and you have to answer the same questions again for 30 minutes, I think it's just too much. And so it's a little bit quality above quantity, and which is not happening at the moment, I would say. Because also in football, like sometimes the players are with the coach on the press conference. You choose the players, but they don't have to be there every single time.
Yeah.
But then you also have the concentration of financials towards one player. You have the concentration of brand. I'm a little bit harder. I'm like, suck it up. Like you want all the benefits of being a single sport, which it is. I think it's actually like an opportunity. I know that sounds really...
Yeah, but I guess you said if you were maybe going into those and were asked a set of questions that were slightly different or maybe a little bit more interesting or could be dissected slightly differently rather than...
Also,
that was
you know
a tough
that they're
match,
just going to take 30 seconds now for TikTok, and it's where you were like, that's a stupid question, I don't want to ask it. They'll be like, Dominic responds badly, and it's like...
Yeah,
I get you there.
But it's what we have talked before. If sometimes I really enjoy interviews or content like here, I really enjoy because it's so nice. It's a little bit deeper, but as I said, in an interview, it's all the time the same questions. So there's no value to that.
Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, he's the GOAT.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Messi, Ronaldo.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
When you lose a Grand Slam final, when you do go to sleep that night, say, what do you tell yourself when you wake up?
Honestly, I was happy that all the tension was over for the 2 weeks. So it was a huge relief, first of all. But then, of course, I was sad and completely empty. Just probably not going out of the hotel room much or flying home next day and just lying around. But then the Australian Open one was really tough because I had my chances, and it was so weird because I was so sad and destroyed that I lost. But on the other hand, I couldn't tell anything to myself what I could have done better because I was playing so good. So that was a really tough situation. But the one thing I always thought when I was waking up the next day was this my last chance? Because especially the last 5-6 years of my career, I wanted that Grand Slam title. That was deep in myself. That was my biggest goal I had. And I would have been, I don't know how I would feel now after my career if I wouldn't have won that title. So I was always saying myself, hopefully I get another chance.
How were you that morning after then when you actually did win? A lot of athletes that we hear talk about aspiring for something their whole career, they then achieve it, and suddenly there's that feeling of emptiness afterwards because their goal has been reached. Did you ever have that?
Yeah, for sure. I was feeling really not good, but straight after the finals, I was on a euphoria. There was still the COVID French Open. 2 weeks later only, I was playing so well. I was feeling just unbelievable for 3-4 weeks. And then after the ATP finals, actually, I went for holidays. And then when everything was calming down a bit, I was just done with everything. Because just as you said, this goal what I had deep inside myself was gone, and basically I had no goal at all after that. And like this, you cannot just.
When you're on holidays, do you just totally chill? Are you still training? Are you still?
No, total chill for 1 week, I would say. So the holidays is mostly 10 days, so 6-7 days, nothing, and then starting to run again, doing some gym work, because if you start playing without, then your body is destroyed.
For so long, like anyone who's around 30, right, we've grown up with like an insane era of tennis, with the players in there, you know, the Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, Murray, Wawrinka, these players that have been absolutely incredible for the sport and continue to grow the sport. For ages, we're looking at it going, the concern is, how does it continue? Now we've got an amazing rivalry that's starting to build with Alcaraz and Sinner. How do you look at tennis today as a developing sport, continuing on that amazing work of the last 20 years? With these young players coming through who seem to be capable of at least matching some of the achievements of those that I've just mentioned?
For me, tennis is really lucky that Sinner Alcaraz showed up, because there was so much talk everywhere that it's gonna have a huge crash after the era of Federer, Nadal, Djokovic, Murray. That tennis is gonna go down, but then Sinner Alcaraz, they raised it up to a new level, and which is very important. But for me, it's just a normal run of time. No, I mean, the Federer and Nadal, they raised it to a new level. Then Djokovic, Murray came. It was an unbelievable era, and the same is happening now. Now Sinner Alcaraz are coming. They raised the game to a new level. But I think, to me, it's just normal, and probably in, I don't know, 5, 7, 10 years, new guys are coming around, and now you're saying, oh, you cannot play better than in the French Open finals, but then somebody will come and will even top that.
Are the shining stars in youth camps the shining stars that make it to the Grand Slams? Do you know Sinner and Alcaraz at 15 are going to be the ones?
Alcaraz, yes. Sinner, no.
Why so?
No, because I was practicing with Carlos when he was 15 or 16 in Rio de Janeiro, and he was very skinny back then, but the practice was so intense. So I was talking to my coach after, and we were saying, yeah, I mean, this guy's gonna be amazing, 100% at one point. And then I was practicing also with Yannick, I think one time, Monte Carlo or something, and you could see that he's a really good player, but and of course possible that he's gonna become a great, but who knows, maybe yes, maybe no. Luckily he became one, but it's very different. Sometimes you can see it's so obvious. I think it was with Rafa and with Carlos, and then there are players who are developing a bit later where you cannot see it.
Who surprised you, apart from Sinner, who's maybe doing far better than you would have thought?
Medvedev.
Really?
Yeah, we had one match when we were both, or he's younger than me, when he was 15 and I was 18, and basically it was not even fun for me because he was just not good enough, and he became number one in the world and won the US Open. So that's simply amazing.
Big part of your work now is a tennis academy.
Yeah.
So when you're doing that, what's the quality of the players coming through? Are you seeing some amazing guys come through, and also guys and girls? Is it both men's and women's academy?
Yeah, exactly. My brother is actually coaching one girl. She's 13, turning 14 in October or November, and she's similar. I saw her for the first time in Germany, and the way she was hitting the ball, the way how clean she was hitting. If nothing bad happens, like an injury, she will become a really, really good player. And
do you think that's good? You mentioned they're playing Medvedev at 15. You mentioned her at 13, 14. This is 13, 14.
That's a long way to go.
But is it good to have this mono focus on a 13-year-old?
It's really tricky. It's really tricky question. I don't know, honestly, because for her, she's from Latvia and she moved to the academy. So she's doing the online school, but all her day is about tennis. Her father is a football coach in Oslo, so the family is also a bit divided. But of course, all the focus of the family is on her tennis. I think she's a really tough girl, so she can handle it. I'm pretty sure of that. But for sure, there are also players and personalities. It's just too much.
I'm just like, Alcaraz at 15 in Rio, and you're like, at 15, should you not be at school?
Sports people are getting younger.
Friends?
Sports people are getting younger. Max Down at Arsenal just gave a debut to a 15-year-old in a Premier League match.
He was getting fouled. Huh? He was for him was the penalty. Yeah,
I think like 15. Yeah. So the exposure of players. I mean, Coco Gauff was really young, wasn't she?
14 or 15, yeah.
It was when she played Wimbledon.
But it depends on the personality, I think, yeah. Because Carlos, he seems like a relaxed guy. He seems like he's enjoying his time off with the friends. So I think it's not that.
Everyone's playing golf now.
Oh,
yeah.
Like Roger, Rafa, they're like photographed.
What about financial backgrounds impacting performance? I can't remember, but there was an amazing US Open final in the women's, and both female finalists were the daughters of billionaires. And there's this correlation between financial background and performance now, where basically tennis is turning into a bit of a rich person sport.
Yeah, because the education is expensive. And for example, in our academy, we try to really help if like there is a family with not so much money. So the kid, if the kid is talented, she or he can still go to the academy and still can chase the dream, but tennis is so expensive.
How much really does it cost for me? Okay, Charlie's got a new baby girl. I want her to be, number one. How much is this going to cost?
I think you have to start, I would say, from 13 to 18, or from 13 to the point where the kid is earning money. You have to pay like 80 to 100,000 a year. So I would say close to $1 million. Which is unbelievable amount of money, and which nobody can afford.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, even though we are helping the parents and also we are constantly looking for sponsors for investors to just help finance the career, because we have one player of us. He's a 17-year-old. He's playing the US Open Juniors now, and he's really good. But when you're 15, 16 and starting to play the junior Grand Slams, you're traveling almost like a pro. So you're traveling for sure 30, 35 weeks a year. But I mean, you don't get any prize money. So it's just, you just pay in and that's it. So you need some help, definitely.
And so what does that look like then? That looks like, hey, pay for future earnings. Like, package that for me as a financial investor. Harry, invest 250 grand into this guy and you'll get 20% of his next 5 years.
Yeah, that's a pretty common package. And of course, there's like a limit. So I would say if you earn more than expected, 500K or something, there's a limit on that. But most of the deals are, I don't know, let's say 50 or 100.
Are they quite common now?
Yeah. But they are common, I would say, since quite a while already. Yeah, I also had them myself when I was getting money when I was 15 or 16, wow. 80K a year, and I was paying back when I was 21 and starting to earn a lot. That's
awesome to have a financing mechanism to allow people to do that. Like that's great. I love that. Should we quick fire?
Go for it.
Which brand partner did you not have that you would most like to have?
As a kid, I was dreaming of Adidas, so I always preferred 3 stripes over the swoosh. Partner. Maybe Apple.
Yeah. I'd love a ton of free Apple kit.
Yeah, I get that.
That would be nice.
Or Roberto Bautista. He's a special. He's playing with the Villarreal badge on his sleeve.
Is he?
Yeah, so I would love to play with the Chelsea badge on the sleeve. This would be unbelievable.
A fellow Chelsea fan. Let's put you in charge of governance of tennis. If you were chair of the ATP for one day, what's the first thing you look to change?
Maybe I would change some rules. Not in the Grand Slam tournaments because they are doing amazing, and not in all the ATP tournaments, but I would shorten up the game maybe a bit and get it a little bit more exciting. And then one thing I would love to see is like a good tennis game on the mobile or on the PlayStation, especially on the mobile. Like I'm crazy about one game called Kickbase. It's like Fantasy Premier League just for the German Bundesliga, and it's just unbelievable. And it has such a huge community, and it's so fun, and it's like such a value to watching football every weekend. And I would love to see that in tennis, because tennis has a global fan base, and if there would be like a great game, I think it would make a huge difference, and it would at the end for sure help the game itself, like the sport tennis itself, and also the players itself.
Do you remember Virtua Tennis on the PSP? Yeah. That was good.
That was good, but that was 15 years ago or 20 years ago.
I think you earned $30 million in prize money. Did you earn more in partnerships or in prize money?
I would say it's very equivalent. It's almost the same amount.
Is that the same for you versus other players, do you think?
No, it's different. Like Roger, for example, he earned way more with his deals. If you're not a GOAT like me, but if you were still like, I would say maybe a very good player of his own generation, then I think it's like that. It's prize money and deals are very, very similar. If you're a GOAT like the big three, then the deals are way more. And if you're lower ranked, then you almost only have the prize money. So I think that's I
stick Alcaraz and Sinner in front of you right now, and I ask you to choose. You have to choose which one finishes their career with more slams.
I don't know. I think, honestly, Novak's record is going to be very tough to break, but they will both finish between 15 and 20, I would say. Who's finishing more? I have no idea. I don't know.
You think they'll get to 15, 20?
I think so, yeah. That's what I would say now, yeah.
Do you think that to be to be that good, when you're talking about the players at that level, do you think you have to have someone with you? So Novak, Rafa, Roger, all getting 20 plus. Probably got better because they were playing against each other at such a high level.
Yeah.
Do you need? So if it was just Alcaraz, do you think that would actually not help him a huge amount?
I think so. Yeah, because if he has 5 slams now, I think, and Yannick 4, I think. So if it would be 5-0 or something, I think he wouldn't go with the same focus into the US Open like he's going now, because if everything is going normal, probably they're gonna play the final again. And if they want to get to the numbers of the big three in slam titles, every single slam counts. And that's why I think both of them, they go with a different focus in every big tournament.
He's my favorite athlete across any. This isn't even a quick fire question. He's my favorite athlete across any sport. I've loved him since I was a kid. Federer. What was it actually like to play against him? Was it?
Honestly, it was always great, but the first meeting I'll never forget. It was in Brisbane, and you always talk a little bit in the locker room, and he was apparently he was having fever or he was not 100%, and I was playing really well, and I thought, oh, amazing, like maybe he's not 100%, and I'm playing really good, I'll beat him in our first meeting. And then he just destroyed me so bad. And but it was not bad for me. It was everybody who loves tennis loves him because he's playing like nobody else. So it was even...
Does he play like nobody else?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, not now and not back in the days, for sure. And it was even nice to watch myself getting destroyed in this match. Yeah, but that was great.
It's so great. It's such a good shot. Well done.
Love it.
Final one from me. You can go back to any match that you've played across your whole career and relive it. Which match do you go back to and relive or change?
That's the Australian Open 2020 finals. To change it because I was playing the best tennis of my career, and I was 2-1 sets up against Novak and had a break point, and I would change this one shot which I played on the break point. It was not bad. He was playing serve and volley, and I was on the passing shot, but I was just choosing the wrong corner, so he was there, so just changed this particular shot, and I would be really curious how the match would have gone.
Do you relive that moment in your mind?
No, not anymore. Now I'm happy with everything what came, but after the month after, it was lockdown, so I was at home. I was reliving it for endless times. Yeah,
The worst
just
time.
not play down the line, just play the cross or a lob.
You're sitting in the
Fucking
corner of a
idiot.
dark room, down the line, down the line.
Yes.
Full Ruben Amorim on the bench.
That's amazing.
Final one from me. Tennis done from the competitive side now. You're looking forward, the next 5 and 10 years, you're starting to establish this new life for yourself. What do you want to be achieving?
I have 4 pillars, I would say. Like now, one is our own company, what we founded last year. Everything with renewable energy. Our flagship product is Energy Community, so we can help pretty much everybody right now only in Austria. Doesn't matter if it's a big company or if it's a private person, to get clean green energy produced in Austria. So this one we want to scale, and that's a big one. The second pillar is obviously the tennis academy, where would be a dream to see players coming out there and compete in the Grand Slams, compete in the biggest tournament. The third pillar are my partners, which I'm having great relationship with them, and where I want to continue. And the fourth one is investing. Right now I'm out of budget, but hopefully there's coming something new in the next years, some new budget, and I really love it, especially to invest and help startups or companies which have impact. That's super interesting, and those are the 4 pillars. It's a lot to do, and looking forward to how it's gonna turn out.
Dominic, thank you so much for doing this, dude. I so appreciate it. We so appreciate it.
It was
It's been
great.
fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's really nice.
Thank you.